Alrighty, greetings, Earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to WizdomDropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. Meow. My name is Tonia, and today we are discussing Lauryn Hill's chart. Lauryn Hill. Wow, I feel like I know a fair amount about her. I definitely haven't followed like all the media around her. She keeps kind of quiet from what I kind of feel these days, but when she comes out, she comes out. You know what I'm saying? She's Lauryn Hill. I'm a big fan of her music. Who is not? If you're anybody with any taste in music, I feel like you're gonna find appreciation in Ms. Lauryn Hill. Wow, what a singer! What a spiritual, just deep voice that woman has, and her mental state is just wickedly deep and complex. The things that woman touches on when she talks, very interesting, very interesting. And her lyrics, just what a talented person, and gifted. It's a shame that she had that record deal that fucked her up. I'm kind of vulgar in my language this week. I hope I'm not offending anybody. It's probably that new moon Pluto conjunction thing that we're still under that influence of in Capricorn. But anyway, she is like a very strong being, and I'm excited to look at this chart. Before we do together, if you want to put a celebrity down below who you're like really interested in me covering, I will consider it. Please do put them down below. If you're watching a Lauryn Hill video, you're probably going to come up with somebody cool. So, that's cool. But leave it down below in a comment. Also, couple quick announcements. If you're new to this channel, welcome. We do a video every single day of the week. You are welcome to join us for it. It is free to you for now to do this. So you be here for it for now, get the subscription, hit the bell notification, and you can always share with a friend if you find it's an interesting video or just interesting content, or they want to learn more about astrology, because that's what we are all about on this platform. If you've been here forever, cool, thanks, you rock. And roll. Like this video if it brings you any value whatsoever, because it helps other people get the information for free, which is actually the cool thing about the internet. And it's like a growing community of like people being more aware of this stuff. It's the Aquarian age. It's time we're waking up to astrology, especially for the next 20 years. There's going to be an insane surge in this stuff. So keep that in mind. The Great Conjunction just happened in Aquarius. Welcome to astrology. Hello, join us. And yeah, last thing I'll say is that I'm available for bookings on readings. I've been really enjoying a lot of the clients I've had lately. Really just, I love seeing everybody's chart, and it's so cool to see like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of charts and still like be in fathom and really just kind of appreciation and awe for how they all seem to find their own je ne sais quoi. They all seem to find their own uniqueness, even in the same, redundant planetary palette and houses and this, that, and the other. Everything is always different. And some astrologers will be like cynical and be like, nobody's chart is special. I'm like, fuck that. That is not true. It's not, because everybody's chart is special in that, yeah, everybody is special, so everybody's then not special. Yeah, accurate. But there is specialness in each chart, and I will always argue that. Now, anyway, let's get to Lauryn Hill's specialness, shall we? And talk about that. Oh yeah, my Gmail address you can reach me at for booking a session is in the description box down below if you're into that. Now, Lauryn Hill was allegedly, according to the interwebs, born on Monday, May 26th, 1975, okay, in East Orange, New Jersey, United States. Now, we don't know her time of birth, so unfortunately we don't know her ascendant sign, so we don't definitively know these house systems. But that doesn't mean we don't know all these planets. And if you didn't see my other videos I've done on this yet, this week we've already covered Queen Latifah, Kanye West, Paul Stamets. The list is growing. So anybody who you think is really interesting and cool, or just whatever, you can leave that in a comment. But anyway, Lauryn Hill, wow. Lauryn Hill, her moon is in Sag. And at first you're like, oh, wow, that's such a jovial placement. That's so high vibe. And it's like, yeah, it is, isn't it? But then you look at the fact that Jupiter, which rules that sign of Sagittarius, is in Aries, which is the sign of the warrior. And it's fierce and it's independent. And it's also isolated. And it's also in this very deep, just tantric conversation with Pluto. You see that opposition, 2-degree opposition between Mars and Pluto. So this is Mars, and it's the warrior, the aggressor, the fighter, the stand up and get something done take action, and sometimes too spontaneously, sometimes in naivete. Mars in Aries is very strong, sure, is very strong. But guess what? It's not the wisest Mars. The wisest Mars is probably, one could argue, Mars in Capricorn, but I would also argue Mars in Scorpio in the fullness of time, because that's going to really ripen up how Mars performs in a strategic way and a power playing way, because it's just an older sign and it's a water sign. But Mars, because Mars rules Scorpio, is why I referenced that, just in case you're still thinking it's Pluto. That's the modern associative. Anyway, Mars in her, being the dispositor of, with the dispositor Jupiter of her moon in a Jupiter ruled sign of Sagittarius, gives her an edge, gives her a strong edge. And it gives her, that she went and signed that effing record deal. And guess what? That's some power play that's affecting her for the rest of her life. Pluto, power play. Pluto, power manipulator. Pluto, power exploiter of relationship, Libra. So somebody exploited her in relationship, and that was partially her own doing with that Mars there at the table of your own willpower. So that's what messed her up, where she can't be doing all these new records and whatnot. I am so, that saddens me, because it's like, what a waste of an artist. Like, not a waste, obviously, because what she has produced out in the world and what she continues to kind of play on repeat and also just freshly orate and say out in the world is still of deep value, of course. And she's a classic for a reason. She needed to put out one album under her name to be known. Like, she was a part of the Fugees, of course. And that has many different albums. But all I'm saying is she was Miss Lauryn Hill alone, solo act, for that one album. And then she was like donezoid. And as far as like any additional creative property, if you're not already aware, that's so sad because of this messed up record deal or whatever. So, she is so fierce and warrior like. And at the same time, she can bite herself in her own, but she can accidentally, she can accidentally screw herself over, is what I'm trying to say. Like, but with that Mars there in Aries, it's a little impulsive. It's a little too quick to act sometimes. Aries sometimes throws punches first and asks questions later. You know what I'm saying? In a lower vibration of that energy expression. But it's with Jupiter, the ruler of the moon. So it gives her this fiery nature, and it gives her a different layer of heat to this already fiery moon. She's a very fiery being, Lauryn Hill. But she's so analytical. Look at this. And intuitive. The sun opposite Neptune, she can channel in. She is a griot. As far as I'm concerned, Lauryn Hill is a griot. If you don't know what a griot is, you should know. Look it up. A griot is like an ancient poet, basically of Africa, like a representative of Africa, modern or ancient, whatever. It's an ancient concept, and it's like a person who carries the history and the lineage and the entire story of the entire storyline that is, and ever was, to the people. It's a poet of a society. They are poets of a culture that maintain and withhold and withstand and carry on and share wisdom from previous generations and remind people in the present time what is of value to look at. You know what I'm saying? They're way showers. Griots in many ways are way showers. And so Lauryn Hill, as far as I'm concerned, is a griot, a way shower of hip hop, of people in general. But she has made mistakes like anybody. And with that said, this sun opposite Neptune, it gives you an illusion propensity as well, because it can be your plot line. Sun is an illusionary, deceptive nature of belief, because it's illusionary, deceptive nature, Neptune, of Sagittarius, the sign of belief, Jupiter ruled. So she basically has gone off and believed some shit that wasn't true. There's been a lot of things that I've heard from people about her mental health and things. Maybe she deals with like, illusions or something like that. I don't know. I don't really know. But it's definitely psychological, because it has this opposition line to it. And that's a psychological kind of energy. Like, it's in the psyche of a person. And look at this big cross of these kind of psyche energies that are just always in her like consciousness wavelength. Very interesting. But this intuition on the high vibe, the Neptune opposite sun, she is a griot, I say, because this spiritual energy and this solar energy of knowledge, and it's in the sign of Gemini, of the people. She's a knowledge keeper of the people, Gemini. And we see this in Kanye West's chart too, we see this exactly there too. He has a Gemini energy, a strong Gemini energy. And these are rappers. These are people with amazing word portrayal ability. And Lauryn Hill's gifts is expounded even more by the fact she has Mercury in Gemini. This is why she's so smooth with her words. So smooth with her words. And her brain is just insane. Like, it's just insanely deep. That's that Gemini Mercury / Gemini Sun, co-present in Gemini, okay? Even though they're not conjunct by degree, they're co-present. They're conjunct, by sign. And so anyway, her moon is opposing that Mercury too. This is like a real deep thinker, y'all. When you got a psychological aspect, like an opposition like that, between the Mercury and the moon, that's a deep thinker. That's a thinker who probably thinks out from an emotional place and thinks out from an analytical place and just plays ping pong with that emotional analytical axis all day, every day. That's somebody who just really gets the bridge between what is emotional and what is logical, especially being on the fire axis like that, with Jupiter being at the host of that moon, and the moon being the symbol of emotion in a chart. So she is deeply intuitive and like, feminine in certain ways, like this Venus, in Cancer. But ouch, anybody, ouch, ouch, that it's conjunct Saturn. Now, Venus and Saturn, you'll hear me say it again. You've heard me say it before. They're homies in ancient astrology. They get along really well and they like each other, but together they can be a little rough. And this can show, especially with Saturn and not so great dignity. Because remember, Saturn is in the opposite sign of the sign that it so-called belongs in, or that it rules. And, Saturn naturally rules Capricorn. In this chart, Saturn is in Cancer, the opposite sign. So, down here. And so that makes it more challenging, more likely than not, for this Venus connection between the Saturn and the Venus conjunction. And also, look, this that we don't love, it's in a square. And we don't love this either. It's in a square with oh, well, that's okay. It's in a square with Jupiter. It was still, Jupiter expands things that it touches, and Jupiter is not in the best dignity per se that it could be, being in Aries. It just gives it a very fiery nature. It's not the worst either. But Jupiter doesn't like being in the sign of a malefic, and Aries is ruled by Mars, which is a malefic. And not only that, it's with a malefic, it's conjunct the malefic in this chart. So it's just a little food for thought on how that aspect plays out. What does this really mean? She has complicated love life. Saturn Venus conjunction, she has a very complicated love life. And I think you've heard her talk about it in her songs and so forth. I'm not like one to really be on celebrity news like that by any means. So I don't really know like that, all that to say. But what I will say is that Lauryn Hill seems to have a complex around male figures in her life, and maybe some dad issues there, because that Saturn rules authority and structure, and it can rule the husband in a chart. And so I think that's going to be something with her psyche around, like, having to heal that and deal with that, which you could be like, yeah, Tonia, who doesn't have that shit anymore with how messed up our society has gotten? And I'd be like, you know what, fair, true, but it's like more of a theme in her life than others, Kuro, my cat knocked over something I did not want him to knock over. Stop that. There's soil there. I'm playing with him though, so it's like not his fault. He loves like sticks for whatever reason, like crazy, like drumsticks, he'll go nuts over. But anyway, with Lauryn Hill, it's going to be just a power game at the end of the day. And Saturn is the power player, Mars is the power player. And I don't know how to solve this problem. I'm gonna have to do that. Here, come over here. Come over here. And so anyway, she's all about power and authority and coming through some complexes on that in relationship to her love life. And she has to learn some tough lessons about belief systems coming up in the fullness of time, I think. And that's just with what we know about that record deal and how that manipulation piece played out with that Jupiter opposing Pluto. And also what we know about that Venus conjunct Saturn of time. Saturn is time and Venus is pleasure, but in a hard aspect like that, sometimes Venus can get burnt. And with a planet that's not in the best of dignity, but is very strong, Saturn, that can be painful, So anyway, she is a bit of a, I don't want to say tortured soul, But you put it this way, you can definitely see where Lauryn Hill's lessons are and karmic lessons are looking at this birth chart. You see what I'm saying? And also where her deep gifts are and where they lie. So I hope that brought you value, and you know it did. And if it did, hit that like button because it helps other people get the information for free, which is groovy. Also, if you are interested in booking a session with me, you can. A link for the Gmail address for that is down below in that description box. And with that said, until next time, may the stars be with you. Peace.